Hey everyone, welcome back. It's day 2 of TradetechFX US in sunny Florida. I'm joined now by Dmitri Galinov, who is founder and CEO of 24Exchange. Dmitri, thanks as always for taking some time to speak with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks. So Dmitri, I wanted to congratulate you on a recent announcement. In January of this year, you guys did over $1 billion in average daily volume in FX NDFs, and also I think a few records, previous records, was set also last year. So I wanted to congratulate you and ask you: is it true that the first billion is always the hardest?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. Absolutely, the first billion is the hardest, especially in the market like FX and DFs, which are emerging market currencies. But we're growing very, very fast. Actually, this month we continue on record-breaking pace, and we looking at like 1.4 billion this month on average. So from the last month's platform went up another 40%. So it can tell you that once you pass the first billion, then it starts growing on its own and by itself much quicker, which is very exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely very exciting. There's obviously a lot of talk at the conference about NDFs in general. There are obviously certain things that are impacting demand for such products. Can you talk a little bit more about kind of what you are seeing from your customers that have a growing demand for these products?
Of course. So very interesting. Obviously, there are a lot of as you know, everyday geopolitical issues. The big thing for FX, though, is the overall raise in interest rates. So as they risen, volatility increased, and this assets became very exciting for people to participate in. So what we see and finally for FX and DFs, availability of electronic trading like our platform made a whole bunch of new participants come in. Like, for example, non-bank market makers that make markets electronically in these things. They never did that before, but now they're coming into the market and participating. So overall, volatility, geopolitical events, and availability of electronic systems in FX and DFs market, I think drive that.
And one of the things that I've heard over the course of the last 2 days here at the conference is, like you said, the geopolitical risks, the interest rates are having an impact not only on price volatility of markets, but again, like we're talking about, the popularity or demand for NDFs. What if, hypothetically speaking, let's say in the next few years, the interest rate regime sort of calms down, let's say, right, with the central banks, and let's say the geopolitical risks sort of subside. Do you see NDFs still continuing to grow in popularity, and especially, let's say, perhaps in the emerging markets down the road? Kind of, what's your opinion on that?
Well, certainly, fortunately for us market operators, there's always things happening all the time. So, which, we benefit by, obviously, as you said, increasing volumes and so forth. I think the NDFs will be popular, especially in electronic way, because there is a big migration going from, trading NDFs via voice and chat channels towards the electronic platform. And I think it's here to stay. So as far as we are concerned, because we are an electronic trading business, I think it's going to continue to grow regardless.
Great. And in terms of 24Exchange's spot crypto and crypto NDF offering, can you let us know a little bit how you guys are standing, as compared to the competition these days?
Of course. So for crypto, as you guys know, an FTX debacle created a lot of questions in the industry. And so the way we stand out is that we're very highly regulated. We actually have a license, exchange license and a broker license from Bermuda Monetary Authority, which is a very highly regarded organization and regulated. So for example, they regulate insurance industry, global insurance industry, they regulate global hedge fund industry. So they're very strong regulator. And what's going to separate us from other platforms is that regulatory status. And it makes our institutional customers comfortable to come and trade, whether it's FX or crypto. They know we operate, and they know we have very high standard of regulation. Very few people in crypto industry are regulated to such a degree and have such a high standard. So I think that's what separates us from the pack.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the FTX situation, Celsius, and some of these other things that have popped up last year and are happening now kind of opened our eyes to the fact that many firms did not take any sort of proactive approaches to implement some regulatory policies like KYC policies, for example, that are required in other asset classes, right, or in other markets. They didn't proactively sort of implement any of these things on their end, and sort of that is one thing that is obviously hampering their efforts. And
Of course, and even more so, it's not only KYC ML policies or like, for example, cybersecurity procedures, right? All this, like a lot of exchanges get hacked. So when you regulate it, like our regulator, they demand that we have security audits, that we understand every single vendor, what are they doing, what about their security. I mean, there is when you're highly regulated, there's multiple steps that you have to follow, and basically, many exchanges don't follow those steps, and you'll see that, this cracks start, here and there, whether it's regulation or it's hacking or, just mismanagement.
Sure.
So there's some people didn't have boards even, like company without a board. So there's a lot of issues that came up in the industry that I think, kind of exchanges like ours will address.
I know, Dmitri, that for you and for 24Exchange, kind of understanding and meeting the needs of institutional clients who are looking for optimal liquidity solutions is very important. Can you explain to us kind of like how you guys go about that process of providing your clients with exactly that?
Sure. I'll take an example of FX and DFs, which is our biggest kind of market right now. So before we came into FX and DF market, the market traded in 3 different areas, which is New York, London, and Asia. FX and DFs, they are pretty regulated instruments, and because of quirks and regulations, for example, a New York trader could not trade with the London trader. And so what we did with the partnership and Standard Charter, we came in and we created a single anonymous pool, where whether it's you in New York or you're in Asia, you're in Europe or in wherever you are, you trade with Standard Charter as the counterparty, and the Standard Charter takes care of all the proper reporting in each country. And that created a very liquid pool that never existed before. And so that's the first step, where with Standard Charter we created single anonymous pool in FX and DFs. The second step is when our clients trade, we have very sophisticated analytical software where we fine-tune each client's liquidity to their needs. So we know kind of what kind of sizes they trade and what kind of time frames they would like to execute. And then we match liquidity providers that can do a good service for them. So I think the 2 steps in this example, that's how we provide optimal liquidity for our clients.
And Dmitri, last year you were on our inaugural podcast, and during the podcast we discussed your application with the SEC for a new exchange. You had mentioned then that the SEC is sole organization that's going to make a decision, right, in terms of yay or nay. But you were expecting them to make the decision last year. We're now in 2023. I wanted to ask, have there been any updates to this project, and sort of is there any sort of things that may have come up over the course of the last few months that are requiring them to delay?
Sure. Well, first of all, change to 24/7 stock trading is a massive change. You basically increasing the time available for the market 5-fold. So it has to work on the weekends, on the holidays. Not only it's a massive change for the actual exchange, but it's also all the surrounding organizations. Like, for example, the SIP, which is the tape, has to change, has to work 24 hours. The SEC has to work 24 hours. So all this, all these issues we had to work through during this process. Unfortunately, we just didn't have enough time during last year and beginning of this year to go through all these issues. There are a few issues left. And so what we have done, and so the current status is, upon consultation with the SEC, we were running out of time, which March 3rd was complete, ultimate deadline. Okay. And so with the consultation with the SEC, we decided to voluntarily withdraw our application work with the SEC to clear all the issues, and then resubmit it and to start the timer again. And with the hopes that when we resubmit it, it would be a much quicker process. So, I still expect our license to be this year. So actually, I would say somewhere in the summer. That's my current prospect. In terms of issues that currently we have to work out, is the issues I mentioned. So, for example, we have to work out how the SIP is going to work 24/7. What is the timing, what is the cost for that, and and how we all going to operate. So that's one, for example, one of the issues that we still working out. We're participating with the SIP committee and working with other exchanges to make it happen. But it's all obviously, because it's such a significant change. It's all taking time.
And I saw, just very, very recent developments from the SEC, or like, for example, Gary Gensler, they published a notice about T1 settlement.
Yeah.
It seems like those kind of things, as they progress along, these other sort of topics within the industry actually would be sort of beneficial to the approval of your application in a sense, right? Because we're trying to move into a T0 world. You're trying to move into 24/7 trading world. It seems to complement each other. Would you agree?
Of course, absolutely. And this is all risk-reducing exercise. If you can trade 24 hours and get in or out of position anytime at the current market's price, it's a massive risk-reducing exercise. So is T0 or T+1. Instead of waiting to settle with the counterparty for 2 days, now you just wait for 1 day, or very soon it's going to be hopefully on the blockchain immediately. So to me, both of those things are very significant risk-reducing exercises for the market overall.
Great, that's awesome. Last question, is there anything that we can look forward to later on in 2023 from 24Exchange? Perhaps you are going to be launching some new products, or I don't know, regions, asset classes, any scoops that you can give us?
Well, obviously, we're very bullish on the stock exchange, so we hope in 2023 to get the stock license. Outside of that, we actually created a while ago the first FX FX swaps anonymous ECN in the market. Now we have a number of banks coming to this new pool of liquidity, and I think also around summertime, fall time, I think it will become a very significant new platform in that particular market. So those are the two things, the equities and FX swaps. I think those are the key focus points for 24Exchange this year.
Great, awesome. We'll definitely be looking out for announcements when they're ready. Dmitri, thank you for taking the time to speak with us as always and giving us your insights. And we hope to see you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.